and welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, as we are going to be discussing Thursday's Copa del Rey quarter-final between Barça and Valencia, live from Mestalla. And today, Hansi Flick has been speaking in his press conference about Szczesny, about Dani Olmo's availability, and also about Real Madrid's complaint about the treatment they've suffered from referees in La Liga. It's really quite extraordinary, and we're also going to be talking about exactly how Barca could line up in Thursday's game, which also includes news and developments on the future of Robert Lewandowski. It is on the way for you guys. I hope you're all doing well. Now let's do this. Now today's video, guys, is coming to you courtesy of the SofaScore app, because ahead of the Copa del Rey here, whether you may be out and about, you maybe will be home for the game, you want the very most reliable score updates coming to your phone, well, there's nowhere else, nowhere better to look than the SofaScore app. And of course, you've also got all of the player ratings there, right there for you, all of the stats as well, and also the channel listings for Barca games in your country, which might come in handy here for the Copa del Rey, because I know the TV rights for this competition, they seem a bit all over the place. If you would like to download the SofaScore app, please do so using the link in the description below. That would be a big help to the channel there. Just follow the link and download the app for free. Thank you indeed, guys, for your great support. But first of all, though, I do just want to clear up one thing from deadline day, because to be honest, in general, it was quite a quiet end to the window for Barca, which in my opinion isn't necessarily a bad thing. You know, I know on deadline day people want to see things happen. It's exciting, of course, to be in amongst all of that. But I think one thing that it does mean is that we didn't need to do anything on deadline day. It wasn't as though we were running around panicking maybe as we have been in previous years. Everything that we needed to do had already been done. We got certain renewals over the line as well. That's what we really prioritised in January, and ultimately just saving our money until the summer, with Hansi Flick pretty happy with the squad that he has and just basically keeping all of those players at his disposal. But of course, one of the things that did happen was Nico Gonzalez moving there to Manchester City for around 60 million euros from Porto. Now, of course, we knew Barca would get some of that money. We didn't know exactly how much. We knew that we had a pretty decent sell-on clause in that deal, but we also knew that Porto could have actually bought some of that back. They could have actually activated the option to buy more of Nico's rights, therefore reducing Barca's portion of that fee. So it actually turns out, guys, that we are going to get a little bit less than we anticipated there. Instead of the maybe 24 million, which would have been 40% of that fee, Barca will in the end pocket 13 million euros in the end from that Nico deal. So not quite as high as we were hoping for, but it is still money there, still cash coming in that Barca will try to use in the right way, I hope. But anyway, guys, on to this Copa del Rey quarter-final here, up against Valencia. This, remember, is a single-leg encounter there. It's a one-off game. The semi-final, if we make it through, hopefully we will, that will be a two-leg affair there. But right here, it is a one-game shootout live from Mestalla. And of course, in our recent memory, we've got a very good feeling coming up against Valencia. Only very recently did we play them in La Liga at the end of January there, and we won by 7-1. It was an absolute demolition job from Flick's Barca, and of course right at the beginning of the season there, back in August, we went away to Valencia, and we narrowly came through that game by 2-1. But I think since that game, as we saw in the 7-1, I think Barca's trajectory has certainly gone up and up and up, and Valencia's has kind of gone down. They're in a difficult situation right now. Once again, we have to look to play on that lack of confidence. We've got to follow up really on that incredible win we've had over them. We've got the mental advantage, and we have to use that in our favour. And of course, ahead of this game here, Hansi Flick has been speaking about the team, about the potential lineup, and one player that is going to play, it looks like, is indeed Szczesny, because Flick could not be more clear now about the fact that, yeah, Szczesny is our number one goalkeeper now. That is what Flick said. He is our number one. It is confirmed. But this isn't just about Iñaki or Szczesny, but about the whole team. We always make decisions that are in the best interests of the team. That is the approach that I want to follow. So yet again there, Flick doubling down here. Szczesny is his man. He will be continuing between the sticks. He is the new number one at the club. But in terms of the starting lineup there, Flick wouldn't get too drawn into that. He said, look, we've got a game tomorrow in the Copa. We've got another game on Sunday there in La Liga. I need everybody in the squad there to be ready. He said, I'm happy, though, with everybody's contribution. He said, Frankie de Jong, for example, he's doing great. Marc Casado is a wonderful player. It doesn't matter who I choose in that area because they will give it their best there. So he wouldn't really be drawn too much, though, into the Frankie Casado debate. He believes in both of them very, very much so. And he will be looking here to use his squad. These are cup games. There's league games to come. We still need to rely on every single player that we can. But when asked there about the availability of Dani Olmo, also about Gavi's situation, he said about Olmo, we're going to see. He said maybe he will get some minutes in this game in the second half, that he will make his return in the Copa here. But he said Gavi, he is not going to be an option for tomorrow. He said that's basically what the protocol says there, the concussion protocol. He's not going to be able to play. The blow that he received to the head was very, very hard there. So Gavi, he is not going to be risked in this game, and I think that's the right decision there. The last thing that you want to do with those sort of head injuries, concussion issues, is rush players back. Absolutely no need to do that there with Gavi, but great to hear that Dani Olmo, he is finally on his way back. And of course, he hasn't really been out for all that long, really. It's not been a major problem with him, but of course, that return date just kept going back and back and back. So it will be great to see him back amongst the squad again, especially if he can get on and start playing some great football again. That is what we all want to see right now. But then indeed, Flick was asked the inevitable question about Real Madrid right now and their stance when it comes to refereeing decisions made against them. You know, I'm not talking here about the league as a whole. I'm not talking here about what happens against Barca. I am talking about Madrid publicly complaining there and setting out a big, big statement against referees because of the treatment they've suffered. Real Madrid! We're talking about Real Madrid here. Are you serious? I mean, come on! Hansi Flick said, though, Madrid's complaint about refereeing, I don't want to see any of that. He said, I don't really want to go into that. He said it's their choice. They decided to do it that way, to sort of publicly communicate their frustration. He said, that's not really our way of seeing things, of doing things. I wouldn't have done it that way. But he said they have their reasons there. And I really do find it incredibly hard to believe that Real Madrid, of all people, are we thinking about the same club? Are you really telling me that they're up against it in terms of refereeing decisions? It's Real Madrid. Gerard Piqué, though, talking today, I think he was much more clear about what was really going on here. He said, let's be clear, it's a complete smokescreen. He said they've been doing this for 120 years. He said when they lose, like they did against Espanyol, they talk about other things. They talk about other things there. Because now, this is what's being spoken about. They're asking questions about this, and that's what they want, to put pressure on the media and to put pressure on referees there. Piqué seeing right through Real Madrid's approach. And I think he's absolutely right there with that assessment. But guys, I thought there was a really nice quote today in Hansi Flick's press conference there, away from all of that Real Madrid stuff, when he was actually just speaking about his love for Barca. He said, in my life, I often think about different things, different situations, and he said, many of my dreams have come true. He said, just like being able to coach Barca, training Barca here. He said, it's really unbelievable for me. He said, I like the city, I like the food, the sun. He said, I absolutely love this club here. And you have really felt that from the second that he walked through the door. He has acclimatized himself absolutely beautifully here, not only to the club, not only to the team, not only to the football, but the culture of Barca. Flick absolutely gets it. And I thought that was a really, really nice quote there to hear from him, guys. But if we move on here to the potential starting lineup, what could we see from Hansi Flick on Thursday against Valencia? And it's quite interesting to hear today from Mundo Deportivo. They've actually gone in depth here on the starting lineup that Flick actually tried out, that he sort of experimented with in training today. Now, we've seen Flick do this in the past, whereby he'll try something in training. You've often seen it as well with the winning teams in training, and he will actually take that into matches. So I think here we can really look at this lineup, and potentially this is what we could expect against Valencia. It will be Szczesny in goal. Along the back line, apparently, it'll be Koundé, Eric Garcia, Pau Kubasi and Alejandro Balde. That would be interesting in itself there, because once again, you'd be seeing Eric Garcia. You'd be seeing their Flick placing Arsenal are trusting him. Araujo would apparently be on the bench in this game. That would be very, very intriguing. And then in midfield, we may see yet again more of Frenkie de Jong. After another really encouraging performance there in the last game, he's growing, he's certainly improving now. Could he start here against Valencia alongside Pedri? And also Fermin Lopez there, in the absence of Gavi and Olmo, is not going to be able to start this game. Then, of course, we will have Lamine Yamal and Rafinha, as you would expect. But according to the media here, leading the line, it will not be Robert Lewandowski. It will instead be Ferran Torres. Now again, that would be really interesting in itself here, because we are starting to see more and more often now just Flick trying a few new things in that centre forward role. We're seeing more and more of Ferran. And of course, don't forget as well, he played very, very well in the 7-1 against Valencia. He played really, really well in that role, scored a goal, was certainly contributing as well to our attacking play. Lots of movement there, lots of excitement in that front line. And I think that also makes it really, really interesting right now when you hear some of the reports coming out about Robert Lewandowski, because over the past few days, guys, we've heard with regards to his contract situation, because what we know is his contract as of right now expires at the end of the season, and we know that Lewandowski is one of, if not the highest earner at Barca. That salary there is a very, very big one, understandably so, given that he came to the club as such an established player, a star name at the time, and of course he scored an incredible amount of goals for us. And there have been rumours that in just 2 more starts, that deal would automatically extend for 1 more season. So if Lewandowski started 2 more games this season, which obviously he will at some point, he would automatically trigger that extension until 2026, again on big, big salary. But what is interesting right now is that Sport are reporting that is actually not the case. Apparently, even despite that clause, even despite things in that deal, Barca still hold the option at the end of this season, if they wish, to terminate the contract of Lewandowski and ultimately bring to an end his stay at the club. And that can still happen, according to Sport, at the end of this season there, guys. So quite early on, of course, we're not towards the end of the season yet. Lots of big matches, lots of big football to come, and Lewandowski will be an integral part of that. But what do you make of those reports right here? You know, do you think the end of this season would be the right time to part ways with Lewandowski? Or would you be open for 1 more year there and extending it until 2026, guys? But certainly they're just crossing back to the potential lineup, the all-important game against Valencia. You know, what would you make if that is to be the team? Because to be honest with you guys, I would sign up right here for that lineup. I think it's a very, very good one there. I can see why Flick is trying things, is looking at that, maybe looking at starting this game in that way. And if that was to be the team, guys, what would your reaction be? Is that the lineup that can take us to the Cup semi-finals? Now, please leave all of your thoughts in the comments down below. What are your score predictions here? What are you expecting from the game? And also, how would you line up? I will, of course, see you tomorrow, guys, for the game itself. Late one there on Thursday. I will catch you for all of that good stuff. Thank you indeed, though, here for tuning in and for joining me before this one. I really, really appreciate your support, and I will see you soon. But until next time, as always, Vejka, Barça.